Hey there, welcome on back once again. Been a long time for some people, for a lot of people, but in either sense. Welcome on back, and we've got another nail-biting episode of what we've got going on here with my Raspberry Pi 5. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that thing today on Pi Quest. All right, so there we go. Welcome on back. So I've been working on a Raspberry Pi 5 that was gifted to me by Mythos for the use with my channel, and of course I'm doing that. And it's like I wanted to see what could I do with it to get some good practical use out of it. And as I reached up, Raspberry Pi, what is that? That's these little guys. These are just little single board computers that can be used for many different things. This is just one of my, this is really my only loose spare, because I've got this one here. That's my very first one that I had, and I got that back in 2017, so we're almost going on 10 years here. Now these are just little project boards that can be used for many different things, for people that like to tinker with electronics, with computers, things of that sort. And they can be used for many different things. These can be a little teeny computer all by themselves. They can be a compute module, as Raspberry Pi actually has products that are actually called compute modules to perform particular tasks, particular needs in electronics projects and stuff like that. This one here can be used for a lot of different things. It's pretty much the same dimensions as a credit card / debit card. And as we can see back here, we've got a data port there. That's for an Ethernet cable. And we can see some USB ports there. There's 4 there. This is a Raspberry Pi 3, Model 3. So it's all USB 2.0. 4s and up, you get 2 USB 3.0s or 3.1s, depending on exactly when they were made, stuff like that. Different releases, revisions, things of that sort. But these things are great little doodads. Like I had a lot of fun with these over the past 9-10 years. What was my purpose for it? Well, at the time, Minecraft was very popular here, and also where I've lived before, so I wanted to have a Minecraft server. And a gentleman over in Denmark, his name is Daniel Jorgensen, and yeah, I'm one of the only people that could actually pronounce his name correctly. Begins with a J, and it doesn't have the J sound. It's it's Scandinavian, so yeah, it's got the Y sound. So neither sense. But I got involved in his project to create a software suite as a tester for creating a suite that administrates Minecraft servers, personal Minecraft servers in the home. And I got involved with that, and that's what that thing's got on it right now. I actually have a build on there. I don't play Minecraft anymore. I haven't since Microsoft, hostily took over the Minecraft property. In fact, the guy that goes by the name of Notch, he regretted selling the property to them, and to my knowledge. But in either sense, I didn't have any need for it at that point. So what was I doing with it? Well, it may have actually been on this one, but I continued to use Minecraft servers for a little bit until the Microsoft takeover and stuff like that. However, I wanted to do other things as well. So what I wanted to do was create something for use for the home, kind of like a home lab or home server, using this. Possibly this exact one. I don't remember. I mean, we are talking 5 or 6 years ago. And I don't use this one anymore. I have it just out as display as a as a communication excuse me, a conversational piece. Hey, what is that? And I keep it up on the shelf next to all of the others. So I do that, and so what I wanted to do is create a home server of my own, and I used Nextcloud. So so as we get moving on into that, I'm going to be moving there, and this is PieQuest, so I want to make sure that I actually get all of that going on. And so what we want to do is, it's with Nextcloud, it's not something that is overly difficult to work with. Now, for a typical home user, it can be very daunting. Like, oh my word, what am I going to do? Well, you could actually create or build a home server using Nextcloud on something such as a Pi. And, I'd recommend doing that to start off with, particularly a Raspberry Pi 5, because it's small. It's easy to, it's easy to keep it out of the way. You can attach a 2.5-inch drive, like a hard drive, like for a laptop, or an SSD, solid state, same size for laptops or something like that, for holding all of your data. And but if you wanted to go something larger, something that's got a little, a little more capability and stuff like that, you don't need a whole gigantic piece of kit, or you don't need a gigantic computer or anything like that to it. You could actually do it on a micro PC, something that's no bigger than this box. I mean, look at this thing. This thing's about just shy of 2 inches tall, and it's about 6 or 7 inches wide. Where do you see computers that are this big most commonly these days? Probably at your auto body shop or your mechanic or something like that. Meineke, VIP, those kinds of places. Because if you look on the back of the computer screens that they've got there at the desks, you might see something that's shaped like this stuck on the back of the monitor. That's a computer. So, and they're very capable, and there's tons available out, let's say like out on eBay, namely eBay. We can get them very affordable and stuff like that. But we're not talking about these today, so I'm throwing that away. We are talking about the Raspberry Pi. This wee little dude, he's awesome. And so I had been given, or Mythos donated a Raspberry Pi, a 5, the latest and greatest, from the Raspberry Pi catalog, we'll call it, for my channel. So it's for these number of videos for PieQuest. So I've got that, and I wanted to show you everything I've got going on with it a little bit. But first, I'm going to introduce you to the actual units themselves. So why don't we take a look at that? All right. So here I give you Folkvanger, as you can see from the label on the front of the shelf there. So to the left is that that same Raspberry Pi that I was just showing you. I'm actually sitting at my desk, and I'm using my second camera on the cell phone. So, hi. So, sorry for the focusing there. I've got it up on a selfie stick that I'm using as a tripod, but neither sense. So, right next to that, in the center of the cluster of sorts, is 4 Raspberry Pis. So we got, that's the main hub for Folkvanger. I got 4 units there. And then over there on the far right is a mini case made by Elecro, and it's holding the Raspberry Pi 5 that was donated to me from Mythos. And of course, it's got the unicorn vomit, or you could call it unicorn poop, whichever is your favorite, stuff like that. So it's basically RGB lighting on those case fans. But I started thinking about it, And I'm a fan of the 1980s cartoon series for the Transformers, and they have this thing in there called energon cubes. It's energy that's kept in the form of cubes. The Decepticons were always raiding all of the energy production facilities on the planet, and they would put it in cubes, and then they'd squash it down, and you would get that color, that unicorn vomit / poop coloring. So I'll just, I'm going to go ahead and keep these fans. I'm not going to switch them out anytime soon, to my knowledge. I mean, if I can, I will, but I'm not worried about it. But I'm just going to pretend that I'm actually powering this Raspberry Pi using electricity that gets converted into energon. So there we go. So that's what I've got from that up there. So now if you look directly below that that case, you can see right here is a drive. That is what we call a spinning rust drive. It's a hard drive for a laptop computer, and it matches the footprint of the case perfectly. And I'm using that to store all of my archival data. In other words, the archive is to actually archive everything that's on this solid state drive, which is right back there. And it's an NVMe drive, and what I do is I'll do a DD command, because Linux based, Debian Linux based, and which means like data dump or disk duplicator or something like that. I just use it to take an image of that solid state drive, and I store that image on that hard drive. So should the need come up that I need to restore from a backup, I can do it from there. So back over to the ones in the center there in the 4, where you see those two larger case fans, these guys, that is what I had my Minecraft servers on originally, and I also had what the topic of today's video is, and that's Nextcloud. So why don't we come back and I'll talk about that a little bit. All right, so I'm all done with that camera. This is that camera, just so you know. There it is. You can see it doing its thing. Yep, there's that over there. Oh, and there's me. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, I did that for this video. That's my second camera, and of course I was talking using this microphone. So I don't need that. Selfie stick can go away. I'll shut you down a little bit. So anyway, so we're coming back. So I'll grab that guy again. So here's this little guy. Back in the, about 6-ish years ago, because we're 26 now, so in 2020, I get involved with a project for Nextcloud called Nextcloud Pi, a special instance of Nextcloud for use specifically on these. It was basically it was like a package of sorts. It's dedicated software specifically so that it basically is the only use for the Pi. Okay. So I did that, and I was involved a little bit, not too much. I mean, I wasn't a tester or anything like that. I was kind of like their social media manager of sorts. I did postings for them for a little bit until I couldn't anymore. And that was mainly because my instance that was on here, the update came out, screwed it up to a point, and I don't have the know-how to properly troubleshoot those issues, which I have no idea what they were at this point. I mean, it's been so long that I just nixed it and just moved on. So I'm now back. The instance that I had, actually, if I back that up a little bit, I called it Mercury. And that was named after, being New Hampshire, the first American in space, Alan B. Shepard. He was a Navy veteran back in the late 40s, 50s, something like that, and he was involved with the NASA space program, and he flew the first rocket into space. It was suborbital, so yeah, he didn't go all the way into space, but he was in space. He got high enough and he got out far enough. He was the first American in space, It was a suborbital flight, about 15 minutes long, and then he splashed down in the Atlantic, way out there. So I named the instance Mercury, and I have a picture of that instance. I tried digging for it, couldn't find it. I don't remember where it is, but I have it, and I ended up not using it anymore. So I basically retired it and moved on. Well, with this Raspberry Pi 5, I'm like, what am I going to do with it? Well, I need to make videos with it. It's for the channel. So I'm like, all right. Since I'm involved with the YouTube channel switched to Linux, Tom and the kitties, one kitty now, unfortunately. One passed away before Thanksgiving. First thing I wanted to do was remember the kitty that passed away. So I gave this Raspberry Pi 5 the nickname of CJ. But I used the Star Wars spelling, so it's SEA-JAY. So CJ. It's got its actual naming and stuff like that separately. So it's just for conversational, call it CJ. So I'm like, all right, so I need to use it for the channel, topic of videos such as this one. So I was like, well, why don't I use it specifically for switched to Linux? How can I do that? Well, it could be a data server. Why not? Why don't I do that? Well, and then the idea popped in my head. Why don't we do Mercury again? Let's do a Nextcloud instance. So I went in there and, of course, from the last video, I installed Portainer, and there is an available Portainer template for Nextcloud, and it's not a Raspberry Pi specific instance, let's say. Ideally, it would be great for a big, for a micro PC like the box that I just threw behind me, or a larger computer, stuff like that. However, with the way that Raspberry Pi has been the past couple of years with the Raspberry Pi 5, it's practically a desktop computer in of itself. So I wanted to do that. And so I did that. So let's talk about what Nextcloud is first, and we'll go from there. All right. So as we come out to Nextcloud.com essentially, and this is what we're met with. So basically, their tagline here is regain control over your data. The better Microsoft 365 for private clouds. So, name and point here is Nextcloud is a cloud solution. In other words, this isn't Microsoft 365 itself. It's not OneDrive. It's not Google Docs. It's not Google Drive or anything like that. This is where you can take all of that and bring it in to your home, which is the point that I'm trying to get at. It's great for businesses and enterprise. However, my direction is taking it and having it in the home. This is for the home users. So regain control of your data. This is where you can take all the data that you would push out there on Google Drive, on OneDrive, on whatever, 365, who's what's it's, and bring it all back into your own infrastructure within your own home. So with Nextcloud, you can have remote collaboration made easy, such as what you can see right there, video conferencing, customizable and scalable, fantastic, no leaks to third parties. So, and we got many different products here. We got Nextcloud Hub, which is generally what this is all about. So we got Nextcloud Files, so you can store basically all of your files in your home. Groupware, such as calendar, contacts, and mail. Nextcloud Talk, calls, chat, video conferencing, Nextcloud Office, real-time document collaboration. So those could be your doc files, your spreadsheet files, things like that. Nextcloud Assistant. Now, for those who are into the whole AI thing, not so much me, but there's a private and local AI assistant, should you wish to do so. Nextcloud Flow, digital transformation with automation. Cool. Roundcube, the most popular on-premise web mail, so email. Microsoft integrations. You can integrate it with Outlook, SharePoint, Teams, and other solutions that Slop happens to have out there. So you can do that. Solutions for the public sector, enterprise, and the public sector. So, when they talk about that, they're talking about, enterprise businesses, big conglomerates or corporations such as enterprises like these over here. Public sector could be for community-based stuff, local municipal type stuff. Service providers, enterprise for service providers. Okay, education, enterprise for universities and schools. Yeah, and there's enterprise plans and pricing, stuff like that. Should or those organizations, businesses, corporations want to do so. However, there's no pricing for home use for private. Nextcloud at home for families, students, and you. This is the focus that I have here. This is Nextcloud at home because you can use it at home. There's different resources, different partners, community about you can download it. It talks about instant trial for home. You don't need that. It's free and open source. No cost to the individual, and it's open source, which is very security happy. So, as we scroll down, it's trusted by thousands of organizations, and you could scroll through all these different ones if you wish. See all case studies. Nextcloud Hub is kind of like the big thing that they're calling it right now. Combines the key features of products, files, talk, groupware, Office, Assistance, and Flow into a single platform, optimized the flow of collaboration. So, Nextcloud Files, Nextcloud Talk, Groupware, Office, Assistant, Flow. Use cases, public sector, enterprises, service providers, education. Why Nextcloud? Productivity. Control. You get to control it. Community. See it in action. Sure. Okay, they got a video and everything like that. Cloud events. They got tons of Nextcloud events. Tons of things regarding that. And a big thing about it is that it is compliant by design. So, with HIPAA, GDPR, and more. More about compliances if you wish to do that. So, compliance kit, auditing capabilities, file access control. Get in touch. You can do that. You can get a quote, talk to us, get a newsletter if you wish, how they stack up, and you can compare to other services that are available out there. And then you get all the, here's all the footer stuff that you can go into, press, privacy, legal note, trademarks, so on and so forth. And there we go. So, yeah. So that's basically, now that's a lot of big information, stuff like that. However, it doesn't necessarily have to be big for use in the home, which is what this is all about, using in the home. So what I want to do is I've resurrected Mercury, and I want to go out there and show it to you. So why don't we go and I'll show you what it's all about. All right, so I have actually come out to, using my web browser because, this is accessible using a web browser. And what folks can do is they can create a web app on their computers that are capable of it, so that, it can act like its own application, program, whatever, or web app, and bring it on in. And so here we are. Here we have Mercury. So, and, the original instance that I had, it was spelt the way that Mercury is typically spelt. But for the sake of the channel, and to identify it with the channel, it's got a capital K in there instead of a C. So, and here we can see a little bit of customization. Now, this page is very customized. My instance is very customized aesthetically. So the look of it. So what I did is I took the logo, which was those three circles, and I've actually went out and I found this Mercury capsule icon PNG file thingy, took it, slapped it on top of that, and identifies this as my Mercury instance. So there we go. And of course, my call sign is Shadow Strike. I'm the admin. And of course, this instance is strictly internal. That's very important. I'll describe that in a little bit now. So I don't have to do certain things. So if I go into here, if I'm remembering correctly, because Swiss cheese memory. So I'm going, I'll log in. And here we are. We are met with the dashboard. It says, good morning. And it says Mastodon notifications. Now, I don't use Mastodon. However, this is based on the ActivityPub protocol. So I'm out on a Pleroma instance on this route. So I can actually connect to that. And I didn't. And of course, I don't have any notifications. So there we go. This is just a, you get a little good morning. And out on this route, they have it in such a way where, we can actually get the name based on the, on what is it, the this route account, you name that, your username, they've got it set up so that it'll display that, but it's not necessary. So it's morning because it's before noontime. And once I get into past 12 o'clock, it'll change to this afternoon and evening or something, whatever's appropriate according to the programming of Nextcloud. So, and this whole area is customizable, and I can show you what you can do with that. You can have status, weather, notifications, favorite files, recent activity, upcoming events, teams, upcoming cards. That's regarding the deck application. Cards due today, cards due tomorrow. Mastodon home timeline. If you wish to do so, I'll go ahead. I'll throw that on there. Why not? So that'll be up there. Notes on this day. I forget what that's all about. I think it just throws little historical things. Recommended files, recent statuses. You can add all that stuff. And you can get more widgets from the App Store. I might play with that. I don't know. I'll take a look at it at least, but not today. So there we go. And there's the Mastodon home timeline. So this is my Pleroma home timeline on Fedis route. So, and these are all, TechCrunch. Nextcloud itself, it's from its FOSS, stuff like that. And I can go directly to my timeline by clicking this little link right here. Isn't that dandy? Now, way up on the top in the far corner here, you can see I've got my logo right there. If I click on that, it just comes right back out here to this dashboard. And here's an actual, if I hover over this, we get little text underneath the icons. Dashboard, well, that's what we're on. If we go to files, we can go and take a look at files. We can see all of the files. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Now, a lot of these happen to be what Nextcloud put in here automatically. But I've got my channel related stuff here. I've got Mercury graphics here regarding my build. I can take a peek at that real quick. Here's the original background for Nextcloud right here. So I went through and I made it green to play with. And then, of course, I did my actual background, which I don't have a copy of it here, unfortunately. But there's the logo that I did. I'll put a copy of it here. So, screen caps of the build. I've got tons of it. So, I ran into gateway timeouts during my setup. Oh, and there's my thing here to Mercury. Isn't that fantastic? And this is what I get after I got my installation done. So that was looking really good. I was really happy about that. And so then I got some more recent stuff. There's with that before I put the logo in there. So there's all of that. And then as I was playing around with uploads and things like that, I went out and I got, well, there's Bumblebee from the Bumblebee movie, Transformers. Hello. I did that as a test. So. And some other things that Nextcloud gives you after you've got your build up there is you've got an intro, which is a little video. You've got the Nextcloud manual. You've got a README, reasons to use Nextcloud. If we pop into that, complete and open source, executive summary, key features, Nextcloud Hub. I recommend going through and checking that out. So that's out of there. And they got templates credits. All right, that's cool. Fantastic. I'll come back to see. If we were to go to photos, you can see all of your photos. February 26th. Here's the Nextcloud group. October 15, June of 13, July of 12. June of 12, you know, so Nextcloud has been around for a long time. If you want to look at your activity, you can see everything that you've got going on or had going on. This hasn't been up and running for a very long time, so there isn't a whole lot here. Actually, there is a bunch because I brought in a lot of different files. Let's see if I can unlock that and swing it. Get out of there. Swing that. That's good. Oh, back to all files. So there we go. Photos, activity. And all the activity. Changes by you, by others, by teams, favorites, file changes. Well, it's just me. So I am the other. I am the team. I am the favorite. I am the file changes. I am the security, the file shares, and everything like that. It's pretty cool. So then we have contacts here. So basically, this is where you can keep all of your contacts. I don't have a copy of any of my contacts in here as of yet. Am I going to? I haven't decided yet. Here's a calendar. Here's how the calendar looks like. So here's an example. So there we go. Sample event. You know, event, open me. This is a sample event. All right. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. So close that out. And you can change this by going to different months of the year. You can go to July, hit on the 4th. And, let's see. Come on, get in there. Okay, boom. Here we go. Here's July. 4th is on a Saturday this year. Everybody get their barbecues ready. So you can get personal stuff. You can get contact birthdays, meeting proposals. You can add more stuff, remove stuff. You can put your appointment schedules in here. It's fantastic. It's got a trash bin. You got your calendar settings down all right through here. Appearance, editing, keyboard shortcuts. I mean, it's very versatile. Notes. You can keep all of your notes in here, which I plan to do. I actually plan to bring stuff over from my Fetish root, or my Dis root, Nextcloud over into this. I'm slowly bringing that stuff over because I want to bring all of my channel stuff and my home stuff into this instance to a certain degree. And I'll describe why in a little bit. And then the big thing, deck. This is a Kanban board. And I'll use my switch to Linux one as an example. Here we go. This is a Kanban board, so this is like for projects, stuff like that. This is like, you can have different columns for different statuses of projects or tasks. Or, not so much tasks, but at least, if you've got something going on. Let's say, I want to have a hangout. I can go here. We can go into progress. And then once it's complete, I can put it over there. Or get rid of it. I can delete it, I can archive it, what have you. So, but these ones are templates. This column is for templates. So the inside of these, if I open up post, I've got all of my steps involved with that. And so what I do is I will actually do a mover/copy card, and I will actually move it to in progress, and you're going to see it pop up right there. And then I can change this to, today's date or whatever, I could do that and what have you. And then as I go down, I would click these off and, complete it, stuff like that. I can add comments in here. Like that, enter, boom, and it shows up there. I can see the different activity of the card. I can add attachments, new files. That's something I might get into. Because, I've got the space. I've got far more space here than I do on Dis root. So, I've got a 1 terabyte NVMe drive available for use if I wish. I'm currently using 256 gigs for the capacity of my drive. And if I wish to go higher, then I can do that at any time, which I might. Haven't decided on it yet. And then, let's say this is done. I could bring it over here, throw it into complete. I could click on that, and then, that card is done. And then if I wanted to, I could archive it, click on that, and then when I come out here, it's gone. It disappears. So I could do that. You can add boards. You can import pre-existing boards that you brought over from other areas and stuff like that. I might actually bring, I might try to bring my disroot one over. Oh, I'll play with that. So, but neither sense. This is really the primary reason why I wanted to use Nextcloud on my own server to bring it in, have it in my home. So, but I'm like, well, once I've got it here, why not? And then over here, we can go out, we could search for stuff. We can see current notifications, wants browser permissions because this is the first time. So let's see what else we got here. That, what was search for contacts. And then, of course, we've got stuff regarding my user, set status, appearance, accessibilities, personal settings, administrative settings. I'm the admin of this instance, so I get the option of admin settings, apps, accounts, what's new, open privacy. I can log out if I wish, stuff like that. If I want to set a status, I can click on that. I can go, hey, I'm online, stuff like that. Or I can appear offline and be invisible if I wish. What's my status? I'm being awesome. There we go. So, and if I go back to that, boom, see, being awesome. There we go. And there we go. I could do it disturb if I've got other people in the instance using it, which I don't. There we go. And I can pick any predetermined ones. Clear status after some time if I wish. Don't clear. I don't care. So, you know, it's just me. So that stuff doesn't have any importance to me. But that's just me. And then, of course, I've got my deck settings. General, appearance, admin settings, keyboard shortcuts. And you'll notice that as I go through these are all just going to the different sections of this page. Right there. And if I wish to bring it all the way up, well, I can just do that. Or I can just scroll up and down. So, yeah. Oh, so I come back to here. I don't want my timeline anymore. I gotta decide what I want to do here. Widgets. There's all kinds of stuff available. So, yeah. Why don't we come on back and we'll talk a little more and then we'll close out. All right, so there we go. So that's just I don't know if you want to call it brief, but it's an introduction to my particular instance, Mercury. Mercury is resurrected, and you know, when I had the Nextcloud Pi instance of the original Mercury, I had it available for use by my family, friends, and acquaintances, and I can tell you right now, none of them used it. Why? I don't know. So I've resurrected Mercury with this Raspberry Pi 5. Thank you, Mythos. And excuse me. Now this isn't a Nextcloud Pi instance at all. This is the full entire instance of Nextcloud, a desktop instance, as it were. You know, server instance, and I've got it in there using Portainer as a stack inside of the Raspberry Pi 5. So, with Portainer, it doesn't come in by default. It's only got like 5 or 6 different stacks you can pick from, or different templates. So what I did was I found another listing of templates. Lissy or something like that. I pulled that up and there's like 500. And Nextcloud happens to be one of them. Another one that I was hoping that would be available would be Matrix, or the Synapse server software for the Matrix chat. There isn't one there. I might go in and to their, I think it's GitHub or GitLab. I can't remember which. But I could go in and put in a request to have that put in there. Whether or not they actually do is beyond me. But this is acting like an actual web server, full instance of it. Now, I was talking about before about it's internal only. In other words, it's not going to be accessed from the outside. So I don't have to worry about all of the security type stuff, port forwarding, or anything that has to do with accessing from outside the home. This is strictly just for inside, because it's for use with my channel, with this channel, the Anchorage. And for my duties and responsibilities for Switch to Linux as a staff member. And I happen to have it up on my second monitor right now, tracking all of my steps for taking the video. So, I just finished the main portion, and now I'm filming the end / conclusion as it says on the screen. So, and all I have to do is just tap my KVM switch, and I've got control using my on-brand wireless mouse. This thing's actually working out really good. I really enjoy it. It's really good. This is the 6-button wireless mouse. I highly recommend folks get it, but that's neither here nor there. This is Nextcloud. So I'm using it here on CJ, the Raspberry Pi 5, in the Electro case, and it's working out really well. Now, what else can people use it for in the home? Well, there happens to be a Nextcloud app called Recipes. You can keep your recipes out there. You can keep your tasks, like do the laundry, take out the trash, mow the lawn, cut the hedges. You can do that kind of thing. There are a number of different things available. Actually, if I can get back to here, get out of that. Let's see. I'm going to actually try to go out here and see what kind of different apps are available. Just to kind of get to that screen that I need. Go to the apps, pull that up. Ooh, let's see. There are apps. I'm not going to name any specific ones, but just a few of the different categories. So you can do things regarding customization of your Nextcloud instance. You can also do stuff regarding your dashboard, for files, for different games, integration into your systems, monitoring your network and different things of that sort, multimedia, office and text. There's, Nextcloud uses OpenOffice as an office suite. That would be your equivalent to Word, Excel, things like that. I don't use OpenOffice. I use LibreOffice, which isn't part of Nextcloud, isn't included with anything regarding Nextcloud. I'm hoping there will be some time, because I think LibreOffice is far better than OpenOffice, but they're still both very capable. Let's see, organizational stuff, web search type stuff, security, social and communication, different tools, different flow, just some of the categories and things like that. So I highly recommend checking out Nextcloud, seeing what it can do for you, because this can be very useful in your home, in your in your job, in your home. I've got it listed out as like hobbies, interests, different things of that sort. You can keep your photos out there. You can host it within your home, photo albums, things of that sort, and not have to deal with Google Photos or anything like that, giving all of that data to all those big tech companies, because they want that data. They want to know everything about you. Resist. Highly resist it. Keep your data. Keep it in-house. On your own systems, on your own infrastructure. Yeah, there is a financial investment into that to a degree, but you've got the option of how much you want to spend, how much of an investment do you want to put into it in order to achieve your goals of keeping your data away from the big brother, the government, the big tech people, things of that sort. I really like the fact that I've got Nextcloud for my purposes which I don't really have many right now. I do use it for a number of different things. But you know, with CJ in here, the primary purpose is for use with my channel and for Switch to Linux. So I'm very happy that I've got it in order to use it for that. I built it. It's working, and I can, you know, it's like the sky's the limit on what I can do with it. Hence the cloud. It's my own personal cloud right here, and it's on a shelf. And if I want, I can unplug it, and I can take it, and I can throw it. Granted, I'm not going to throw it because, you know, I don't want to break it. But, you know, it's this cute little box right there, and it sits on the shelf, and I can do all this. You can too. So let's get in on that. Have fun with it. Do your thing. Play with the graphics. You know, like I did. So, yeah. There we go. That's Mercury. That's this Raspberry Pi 5. Primary purpose. Might take it a little further. Who knows? I'd love to. And we'll see how it goes in the future. Thank you very much for coming along. Skál. And I'll talk to you later.